Live with Richard Rectum to the Hart Senate Building, room 218, for the hearing on gun control.
Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, I'd like to present to you some different opinions.
Wrong room!
Oh, shit! Boogie! Coming at you from the Skyhammer studio here on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. This is the El Donzo and D Show.
You have insanity in my earpiece.
That we do have insanity in our earpieces, and so do you. I'm El Donzo.
I'm Deez.
And usually we go into how's your week and all this other stuff in the sponsor, but I think we owe an explanation for the cold opener, don't you, Deez? We're gonna cover this more later in the show. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of layers to this onion we got to peel back, but something I guess that Democrat Senator Cardin's, what was he, an aide or something?
Yeah, one of his staffers who apparently was a an up-and-comer in the Democratic Party.
He's fabulous!
He was even featured in a Biden campaign video at one point as well. But yeah, a video...
Campaign and pleasure is what they call it, right?
A video, basically, if you haven't heard the story and living under a rock, a video got leaked by the Daily Caller, which is a known, right-wing news source, but that doesn't matter. They found it on I think a Twitter or X group.
Yeah, it was a group
for gay men in politics, and it got leaked. It was basically an 8-second, very graphic video.
Well, he was getting pounded by his bare boyfriend who was checking his oil. So if you want to talk about leakage, I mean, I'd really recommend a mop and a bucket and bleach water for that. That was a Hart Senate building, right? Yeah,
it was in room 216 of the Hart Senate building, where they have had some pretty...
Say 216 or 269?
16, unfortunately. And so he actually turns his head in the video, which is how he was so quickly identified. And it's not... let's just say that Twitter/X was a lot of fun to read on Sunday, with all the people coming out and posting screenshots of both Biden and Jill saying, put decency on the ballot. Meanwhile, you got, Democratic Senate staffers getting railed in the Senate chambers.
Senator Cardin's words, we're going to rehash that later in the show. But he actually got his tongue in quite the vice over this one, too. So, but no, I just utterly... Imagine having to go there and sit down at that spot where that took place.
It was a fine piece of reporting, too, by, the esteemed Richard Rectum.
Yes. I didn't even know he was joining the show.
Yeah,
but
he's our new Washington correspondent.
Delightfully surprised. Richard Rectum, everybody. Hey, so D's coming up in the holidays. This is going to be the last show we're going to have on air on Cities 92.9. We're going to have a rerun probably next week, but this is going to be our last show. We're coming up on Christmas and the New Year's.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody's stressed out.
As you can see. If you're watching us on youtube.com/EldonzoDs, I am very festive. I've got my red hoodie. I got my Santa hat.
You kind of look like Santa Claus.
I'm getting there, yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely getting there. You know who I little crackle there, who I look like quite a bit if I had a little more white in my beard right now?
Who's that?
Mel Gibson's version.
Yes, in Fat Man.
Fat Man, yeah.
Was that not a great movie?
It was. If you haven't seen it, it's the holiday season. Go check out The Fat Man with Mel Gibson, where he plays Santa Claus, and it's not your kid's Santa Claus that he plays. It's a really good action movie.
It is a great action movie, and shows that Mel Gibson still got it.
Yeah,
it's really good, and it's classic Mel Gibson too. But yeah, definitely go check that out. Probably get it on Amazon. I think you can find it.
Yeah, it's out there.
But, Christmas movies. How was your week?
Not too bad. Wrapped up that job in old Atlanta, the little one here in Illinois, not the big one down in Georgia. So now I'm pretty much in limbo for a little bit.
Well, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor for the show, EnviroSeal. If you have stuck in concrete slabs like patios or drive walks, Once again, driveways, dry walks, but potatoes, call the whole thing off. If you have something concrete slabs, give those guys a call. They'll come out with polyurethane spray foam and pump up the slabs. They'll pump it up under the concrete slab. They'll level it out. It'll be ready to use the same day. And also, they use polyurethane spray foam insulation for commercial and residential insulation as well. So give those guys a call and virus seal at 309-275-6303. All right. Big thing going on right now is this deal where these idiots in Colorado took Trump off the ballot. Have you been following this?
Yeah, knew it was coming.
So the state Supreme Court, 4 justices voted to take him off of the ballot, which means technically he's not going to be on there. You can't check his name off.
Yeah, this is for the primary right now.
Yeah.
Is all it is, but still.
And now Vivek Ramaswamy, I think, is going to take his name off of it. And he's really the only one that's spoken out about this as far as you have Republican candidates going.
Right.
So they don't even want Trump to be an option on this ballot. It's a pretty scary thing when you think about it.
Absolutely. It sets a precedent.
I mean, we've got a lot more of this to go over there, but there's definitely, and this was all done around Article 3 of the 14th Amendment. Okay, this is why they said this. Now, bear in mind, Donald Trump hasn't been charged or convicted of anything around insurrection or going against the government.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So this is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, disqualification from holding office. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state, who, having previously taken an oath as member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. Now, that's the clear print right there. Mm-hmm. This is wholly unconstitutional, what these non-elected people are doing.
Yeah. Yeah, a fully democratic panel, by the way.
Yeah, and this is big news, and I'll tell everybody listening why. This is what separates us from places like China and places like Venezuela. This is a big story. We've got a lot more of this coming up. A couple other things that I wanted to get out there, too, is this just broke. Let's see how much time we've got. I think we got plenty of time here. Yeah, we got plenty of time. This just floored me. Did you know that Xi Jinping pretty much told Biden when he was in San Francisco that they will reunify with Taiwan, and he's pretty much just got to take it on the chin?
No, I didn't see that until I saw it in your notes there. I'm not surprised.
He says they want to take it peacefully, not by force, but they're going to take it regardless. They also asked them that Biden make a public statement after they were done saying that the U.S. supports China's goal of peaceful unification with Taiwan. Where in the hell does Xi Jinping and China... Oh, never mind. They own Joe Biden. What? Sorry, I was off on a tangent there. I thought there was still common sense and decency in this country. I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
Yeah.
They're just pretty much saying, hey, we're going to do it. We don't care if you like it or not. Which all the aid and all the air support that we've given to Taiwan, for him to just... First of all, rolling out the red carpet for this. Joe Biden's got a lot of other issues. Of course, we're just now breaking the surface here on everything going on in the past week. There's just been a whole lot of stuff that you hear about that shooting in Prague.
Yeah.
14 people killed. There's a David Kozak, a Czech student at Charles University's Faculty of Arts building. He set up a perch. He killed 14 people and wounded 25 others. Actually pretty efficient if you ask me. But I guess I got it. The first thing you think is with everything going on, hey, this, maybe this is an Allahu Akbar moment, but it wasn't. The guy was just nuts. I guess he killed his dad before that too. And he killed some guy and his 2-month-old son. Went absolutely ape sticks on this. There's a lot of stuff going on, but mind you, there's a lot of the same. And what I mean is we've got this thing with Colorado, which we're going to get into. We've got the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden thing we're going to get into. We've got the polls. there's a lot of news surrounding stuff that's been in the news. I think you can back this up for months right now. We have a lot of ever-evolving things going on.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of headway going on in the Gaza Strip as well. I think they just wiped out 1,000 Hamas terrorists this week?
Yeah.
And then another 3,000 surrendered?
Wasn't one of them that was in the hospital confirmed to be one of their higher-ups, I believe, as well?
Yes, it was. He held the rank of brigadier general, and he flipped on Hamas once they caught him. We're going to have that story coming up for everybody as well on the show. So there's a lot of stuff happening. Of course, Trump is still leading in the polls. We're going to get into real clear politics.
Losing ground in New Hampshire, though.
He is losing ground in New Hampshire. Nikki Haley picked up the endorsement from Chris Sununu, and that seems to be helping her out a little bit. She's got, I would say, give it the edge. I still don't see anybody else getting the Republican nomination besides
I don't
Trump,
either. I mean,
unless they take him off the ballot.
Yeah.
Which we have. So we have a soundbite of some chick talking about you're with the Confederates if you're not with Colorado. And, I think it was, who was it down in Texas? It wasn't the governor. I think it was a lieutenant governor, Abbott's lieutenant, that came out and said we might as well pull Joe Biden off the ballot in Texas for all the illegal aliens he's let in here.
Brings up a good point.
He does bring up a good point. They actually started, did you know that Governor Abbott has directed them to start sending flights out of Texas with illegals on board? You know where they're sending them?
Hopefully Washington.
Well, one place is Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm glad I don't live there. We're still in Illinois, which is bad enough. But this is the El Donzo and D Show on Cities 92.9. And we kind of give everybody a rundown in the first segment about all the fooly monkey shines we've had going on this week. So, without further ado, Joe Biden, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody, yeah, a round of applause for the sleepy old guy. Which we're going to go over a video of that, falling asleep as well, and Sandra Day O'Connor's eulogy, which is pretty bad. But I guess some people may not know this, but there was actually a car accident with President Biden's motorcade. Did you hear about this?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it was Sunday night. I think it was around 8 p.m. I guess this was down by the Biden-Harris 2024 headquarters in Wilmington. This guy just crashed.
Surprised he was awake that late.
Well, he was probably asleep until Secret Service pulled him out of the car.
Right.
Mr. President, I don't want to go to school. The guy seems to be sleeping all the time. We're going to cover that, too, if we get into it. But, yeah, I guess it was a drunk driver. According to Secret Service, they didn't hear an Allahu Akbar or anything like that. They just heard squealing and a crash.
Did he actually hit the car Biden was in? Or
no,
just one
he
of
hit
the
part
vehicles?
of the motorcade. And here, look at the guy. We got a picture pulled up right now. This dude was drunk. Look at him. He's like, I don't even know where I'm at, man.
Whoops.
He's like, you mean that's the president of the United States? Yep, you hit his motorcade, dude. These, tell them what they've won. Now they've won a round trip to prison.
We'll see.
Yeah, he'll probably get let off. He'll probably have a position in the cabinet in 2024 if they win.
Right.
I mean, if you've got an administration that's such a train wreck, if the guy can crash a car that good, why not bring him in? He may bring something to the table. Now, we can't, unfortunately, pull up the video of this, but Sandra Day O'Connor's eulogy, okay? Chief Justice Roberts was eulogizing Sandra Day O'Connor, and this was on Tuesday. And there's video. You know what, dude? If there's one time where you just stay awake.
I could have swore she died 2 years ago.
Yeah, you said that about somebody else, too.
What wasn't there another female justice that passed?
Ginsburg.
That's
Ruth Bader
it.
Ginsburg.
Okay, that's the one.
Yeah, the funny thing about that was Barack Obama and the Democrats were trying to get her to step down for so long and not risk a Republican president coming in and her croaking. And she refused to, and it really pissed off the Democrats. And what happens? She buys the farm while Trump's in.
Yep.
Which I believe ushered in Amy Conant Barrett. Was the one that I think Trump got in for her. But anyway, that was pretty good. So anyway, they are doing...
Are you sure it wasn't what was his name? The one that they accused of sexual...
Gorsuch. Neil Gorsuch.
That name doesn't sound right.
Yeah. Anyway, look it up. Anyway, take a look. It's in a book. Anyway, Justice Roberts is eulogizing the legendary Sandra Day O'Connor, who was the first woman on the Supreme Court, I believe. And Joe Biden does nothing but sleep throughout the whole thing. Isn't this a good time to give this guy crack cocaine or something?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that video we watched where it looks like he's all jacked up? You remember that from like 2 years ago? Where he's starting to fall asleep and this really bad camera editing, and then all of a sudden his eyes...
Brett Kavanaugh's who I was thinking
Or
of.
Brett Kavanaugh, that's it. Not Neil Gorsuch, it's Brett Kavanaugh. Very good, very good. Thanks for the correction. We're on the fly here. If it's not bad enough that he's fallen asleep during a eulogy, did you hear what he said at the remarks at this Wisconsin Black Chamber of Commerce?
No.
I don't even know what this means. Now, there's probably going to be older folks out there that are listening to this, and they say, oh, yeah, that was a saying from back in the day. I don't know. I can't come up with it. Look, here's the thing. He's not helping himself out. Right now, his approval rating's 33%. His disapproval's at 64%. The white approval's 30 to 68. The black approval is 43 to 52. Hispanics are 33 to 63. He's doing so bad right now, I'm surprised they let him open his mouth. But he stumbles around, he moves around on stage. This guy doesn't know where he's at. And I'm scratching my head the whole time, wondering how the hell is he going to make it through 2024? And we beat this dead horse every week, but every week it seems to get funnier and funnier and funnier, while albeit sadder at the same time. So, I don't know, check this out. We're going to pull this clip up for you. And you tell me what you think this means, because I don't think you've heard it yet. Have you, Dees?
No.
All right, let's see if I can pull up the correct one here. Yeah, this makes no sense whatsoever. So, let me preface this once again. He is at the Wisconsin Black Chamber of Commerce in Milwaukee. He's addressing the Black Chamber of Commerce. Roll clip.
I come from a state that has the 8th largest black population in the country. And as they say, the saying goes, where I come, you brung me to the dance early on.
What?
Do you want to hear it again?
Yes.
All right, here it is. We'll just play the whole clip. In 3, 2, 1, roll it.
I come from a state that has the 8th largest black population in the country. And as they say, the saying goes, where I come, you brung me to the dance early on.
Who brung him to the dance early on? What the hell does that mean?
What saying is he talking about? Is he talking about you dance with the person who brung you?
This is what he said. I come from a state that has the 8th largest black population, that's probably a lie, in the country, probably city, Philadelphia. And as they say, the saying goes, where I come, you brung me to the dance early on.
As far as states, I could see Philly being 8th, potentially. Philadelphia or Pennsylvania.
The city. Yeah, city. I could see the city probably potentially being 8th, but you can never believe anything he says because everything's a lie.
A lot of Black Dutch up there.
Here's another one he said too, which was awesome. There's two other ones we could take away from when he was addressing the Black Caucus. Wages. This is a quote. Wages for workers are up. How do you rate that? How many Pinocchios do you give that if you were that newspaper? Wages for workers are up.
It's kind of true, but the caveat to that is so is everything else.
Yeah. And I don't see them. Well, here's the thing. The companies that I know of do not give out any more than they usually do, which is like max 3% raise.
If you're lucky, yeah.
If you're lucky, a 3% raise, which is to counter inflation. Well, inflation's up 15% from where it was 2 or 3 years ago. And that's looking at it with rose-colored glasses.
Yeah, most even menial jobs nowadays are starting in the 15 range. But again, that's because goods and services have skyrocketed, or vice versa. The goods and services have skyrocketed because the wages have gone up. But
the actual truth of it is that real wages are down about 3%. Now, here's another one he said. Here's another humdinger and a knee slapper and a zinger for you. Black wealth is up a record 60%.
Okay. Find that a little difficult to believe, but
I find that difficult to believe that anybody's wealth is up any bit.
no.
Now, we talked about this. You talked about the, we got to bring up a name for this. The Home Alone paradox. The Home Alone, no, not paradox. The Home Alone something. The Home Alone matrix. Matrix. Let's call it the Home Alone matrix. It was what? When Kevin McAllister in Home Alone
He
all
bought
that junk
like
for $20.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, 15 or 16 items, something like that. Just small stuff like mac and cheese and, things however old he was, would know to buy. Plus, I think he got a couple things to set up his booby traps. But yeah, he spent I think it was $18 or $19.23. And 2 years ago, the exact same items would have come to $44 and some change. And this year, it would come to $72.
Okay, so we just heard from Joe Biden, just a bunch of ignorance. Now, who came up and said, Joe, hold my beer, hold my beer? None other than Camel Toe Harris. She was on with our favorite buddy, Lawrence O'Donnell, who helps us out with the show. Insanity in my earpiece. Okay.
Oh, is that who says that?
Oh, and there's got to be insanity in his earpiece. Now, if you actually watch this interview, he does.
I always thought that was, long-time anchor for CNN, or maybe it was Fox. We'll do it live. That guy.
Oh, Bill O'Reilly.
I always thought that was.
We'll do it live, F it.
Yeah, I thought that was an old Bill O'Reilly clip. But.
Yeah, but she was on with the last word with Lawrence O'Donnell. Stop the hammering. So remember that where he's like, you haven't seen any of my earpiece. Somebody's hammering. He has
yeah.
He gets off. Anyway, she was on the last word with Lawrence O'Donnell, and of course she's talking nicely about Donald Trump, which she's not. She made remarks that Donald Trump's remarks that migrants are poisoning the blood of our country, and called him, he's the boogeyman and all this other stuff, which we've talked about the boogeyman and how I feel about that, and that's what Donald Trump is to these people. But she said something. Now, Deez, I know you haven't heard it, but I'm going to play it for you. Now, most of this also is just her way of saying things without saying things.
Make it quick.
How much time we got?
Not much. 30
seconds. We don't have enough time for it, Deez.
Okay.
We don't have enough time for it. So what does that mean now?
Well, I guess we just stall for the next 30 to 40 seconds.
Well, you know what? When it comes to stalling, I got good news for you, Deez. Ignorant and offensive New York Times writer says Americans who oppose Colorado Supreme Court ruling on Trump support the Confederates. Which, by the way, the Confederate states, 9 of them voted to take Guess Who off the ballot in 1960.
In 1960?
1860.
Oh, yeah, it was Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
Donald Trump he truths about it.
Abraham freaking Lincoln.
And he actually put his face on Abe Lincoln's head. It's kind of...
Hey, welcome back to the El Donzo and D Show here on Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal, where on our worst day, we will still smoke the Biden administration on their best when it comes to speaking and putting stuff together. Right, Deez?
I would hope so.
Now,
that's a low bar.
We ran out we ran out of time on the last segment, but we're going to catch it up. We had to do some shuffling. My old boss used to call some shucking and jiving there. But you know what I say? My dad used to tell me this. He'd say, boy, if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bull sticks. Of course, it wasn't bull sticks, but
I was going to say, I've met your dad. I'm pretty sure that's not the word that came out of his mouth.
You know what? Dad was a lot of things. Politically correct wasn't one of them.
No.
Not. He is a lot of things. Politically correct is not one of them. He's still with us. Sorry about that. But I remember growing up, it was just... Your dad's the same way.
Yeah.
Whatever popped into their heads, whatever pops in their heads comes out of their mouths. Which, you know what? There was times when I was a kid and I was like, oh my God. But you know what? I come to appreciate that more now as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
I just want to know what you're thinking. I don't care if you offend me or anybody else. I'd rather know what is going on in your mind. And too many people nowadays just don't say what's on their mind.
Yeah.
They suppress it.
I have a filter, but it is paper thin.
Mine too. Mine, as we can tell by the show, how many times have we gotten our butts in a sling here?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, in relation to the stories we're going to talk about at the same, Joyless Behar says a quiet part out loud too. in regards to Trump and the Colorado thing. But without further ado, we were talking that Kamala Harris, Kamala, she can't even pronounce her damn name right. Neither can Joe Biden. Kamala Harris was on The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell. Stop the hammering, Lawrence O'Donnell. And she had this to say. We're going to play the clip for you real quick. Let's see if we need to rehash this. No, I don't think we need to. This was her talking about Trump and his latest remarks about migrants poisoning the blood of our country. Here it is. Here's, unfortunately, our vice president. Roll clip.
You know, every election cycle we talk about this is the most election of our lifetime. Lawrence, this one is. This one is. We are
Yes, you heard that correct. It's not done, but the most election of our lifetime.
Literally talking about people who are attempting to divide our country in the most crude, frankly, and profound way.
Yeah,
we are
you stupid.
About
but
those who are intent and purposeful to attack fundamental freedoms, be it the freedom to make a decision about your own body, the freedom to love who you love openly and with pride, the freedom to be free from fear of violence and hate, the freedom to just be, the freedom to just be.
The freedom to just be. Now, this is all going on around the time that Trump is getting booted off the Colorado ballot.
you know what Santa Claus said to Kamala Harris?
What's that?
Ho, ho, ho!
You're the hoe!
And she responded with,
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Somebody do the Heimlich on her. Oh, it's a Heimlich, not the hind lick.
well, it depends.
Get in trouble for that. Kamala Harris.
Depends if she needs a job or not.
Hey, job's better than no job, right?
I guess.
Okay, moving on. So anyway, of course, it's all about this boogeyman business. If you listen to the words she said towards the end of that, about somebody, dividing the country and taking away your rights, just your typical talking points from these people when they're the ones actually trying to take away your rights. They're the ones who claim that when Trump gets in, he's going to be a dictator and he's going to go after his political opponents, and he's going to persecute them, which is what they're doing now to him.
Yeah.
Okay. And this whole Colorado thing sums it up great. Now, Jonathan Turley, okay, he said it really, really good. If you follow him, he's a constitutional expert, smart guy. He wasn't always the biggest guy on Trump, but he's really changed his tune a little bit. And it's the same thing with Alan Dershowitz. I mean, these people actually care about the Constitution. These people actually know the Constitution. They're constitutional scholars. They know this is wrong. Now, Jonathan Turley said something in regards to Colorado Supreme Court taking Trump off the ballot. This is what he said, and this was just a couple days ago on Fox News. It was on Tuesday night. He said, "This country is a powder keg, and this court is just throwing matches at it. This is hands down the most anti-democratic opinions I've seen in my lifetime." Now, if other states manage to get Trump off the ballot, what that's saying is, especially when it comes to the Supreme Court in Colorado, these people weren't elected by the people, they were appointed. Okay? Mm-hmm. What right do they have to tell their citizens, the people of the state of Colorado, who they can vote for and who they can't?
No, I agree. It's setting a potential very, very dangerous precedent.
And I agree with the precedent part. I mean, obviously, you're right on that 100%. It's setting a bad precedent. But when are people going to go, you know what, screw this. I'm done with this system. I'm done with these people.
Yeah, they're talking about democracy being ended. I mean, that's the very thing that they're doing.
It is exactly the very thing they're doing. Now, I was reading a report that prepping, okay, we talk about prepping on the show sometimes, is at its all-time highest, and it's not just with conservatives. Usually you associate conservatives with the preppers, right?
Uh-huh.
Because conservatives tend to be less government, anti-government. We don't want the government taking care of us. Now you're seeing prepping on the left side as well, of people that think. So our prepping is, if Joe Biden gets elected, there's just we're looking at a third world war, potential nuclear war, potential civil war. We feel we're being persecuted by the government. Now people on the left are starting to do the same thing because they're worried Trump's going to get in there. which Trump has shown no sign. He had 4 years in office. He didn't drag us through the ringer like this idiot, this codger is now.
Mm.
I digress. This is a bad state of affairs right now when you have a Supreme Court, a state Supreme Court, taking somebody off the ballot for nothing. That just shows them that they wield all the power and everybody else is peasants.
Yeah. I have to imagine that the Supreme Court is going to strike this down.
They'd better. Okay? They'd better. When it goes to the Supreme Court of the United States, they have to strike this down. There's no way they can let this stand.
Yeah.
Now, we have
if it does, we are in for a very, very rough 2024.
It's going to be rough. I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be rough regardless. But
and people listening right now, you better start preparing. And I'm not saying prepare like tinfoil hat prepare. Look, we've already seen what inflation is doing to us right now. Okay, the cost of gasoline is going to skyrocket. They've also said, we're going to talk about it, that there's going to be a depression in 2024. There's now a lot of experts coming out and saying there's going to be a crash that we haven't seen in our lifetimes coming in 2024 because everything's gotten so high. The stock market's gotten so high. Everything's in a bubble right now. It's going to crash. We need to start taking this seriously. This experiment at one point is going to end.
mm-hmm.
Is it going to be 2024 or 2030? Doesn't hurt to be prepared. Now, we talked about our dads, our fathers, D's and I's fathers, coming out and just saying whatever's on their mind. Joy Behar, okay, this was a Congressman Joe Walsh, just in response to this. He posted on Twitter, formerly Twitter. He admitted that he personally believes that Trump committed insurrection. He finds a 14th Amendment insurrection ban vague, untested, and likely to be overturned by the Supreme Court. Well, he's an idiot. But he also predicted that the Colorado Supreme Court decision would strengthen Trump politically and stressed the best and only way to defeat the former president is at the ballot box. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Joyless Behar comes out, and she disagreed with that. Okay. She responded, Joe, the ballot box can't compete with the third-party candidates who will take votes from Joe Biden. And let us not forget the Electoral College. The law must defeat him. The law doesn't apply to this.
No.
The law is being weaponized against political opponents. And they're coming out and saying it. They came right out and said it. Now, got to go to this one. We started talking about this, and I've got just enough time to play this, I believe. I better have enough time to play it. How we looking there,
Minute.
Deez? Minute?
Minute.
Okay. Let me pull this up. Okay, so Mary Gay, okay, New York Times editorial writer and MSNBC, DMS, PMSNBC, whatever it is, contributor Mary Gay told Morning Joe that Americans who oppose the removal of Trump's name from the Colorado ballot support the Confederates. Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier. I'm going to play the clip for you real quick. Let's roll it.
To the Republican candidate's argument that this should be, the voters should have the say and not the courts.
Why are you standing with Confederates who betrayed this country?
Why are you standing with Confederates that betrayed this country? Why are you on a show with people betraying the country right now and voting for it? This is the El Donzo and Deez show on Cities 92.9. I'm El Donzo.
I'm Deez.
And we're wrapping up the first hour of the show. Now, we talked a little bit about this potential 1929 era depression that's coming up in 2024. If you look at the housing market, you look at everything, you look at the inflation, you look at how high we've actually gotten in the stock market. The theory is this is about to pop. Now, Rolling Stone magazine, if you told Rolling Stone magazine, somebody reported to them that Donald Trump saved a litter of puppies from drowning in a river, they would turn it around somehow. They would say that Donald Trump saved a litter of puppies, but how do we know Donald Trump's not the one that threw them in there in the first place? He did save the puppies, and then he beat them all with a baseball bat. Rolling Stone magazine is such a rag. Did you ever read Rolling Stone?
No.
All right, well, don't even bother, because it's stupid. It's you cannot get, and they claim they're news now. They used to be like pop culture. Now they're trying to do news. So this is from the Rolling Stone magazine. During his third trip to Iowa this month, Donald Trump warned that if he was not elected president in 2024, the U.S. would see its economy plunge into a 1929-era depression. His words arrived as the Dow Jones Industrial Average hit a record high Wednesday. It goes on, Trump, who accomplished the feat of becoming the first president since Herbert Hoover during the Great Depression to leave the country with fewer jobs by the end of his one-term presidency, claimed that the Biden administration is running on the fumes of the great success of the Trump administration. He added, addressing his supporters, without us, this thing would have crashed to levels never seen before, and if we're not elected, we'll have a depression like the likes of which I don't believe anybody has ever seen, maybe 1929. So first of all,
which, to be fair, there aren't too many people that were around in 1929.
No, there are not. Now, first of all, Rolling Stone always has to go to this, first president since Herbert Hoover to leave the country with fewer jobs. Well, that was all COVID. All right?
Yeah. I get so sick of seeing those kinds of stats about job creation and the economy. That's because the left pretty much tanked the economy with all the COVID stuff.
Absolutely. So they say his unemployment rate surged to 14.7% in April 2021. We know why that is. And it receded to 6.3% by the time he left office the following January. Yes, we know this, but this isn't a reflection of Donald Trump. Okay? So, bull sticks. Now, they also threw in there about how high the Dow Jones was right after Trump said that. Now, check this out. There's this guy named Harry Dent, who's an economic analyst, okay? He's a financial guy. He says since 2009, this has been 100% artificial, what we're seeing now. Unprecedented money printing and deficits, $27 trillion over 15 years. This is off the charts. He goes 100% official, which means we're in a dangerous state. He goes on, I think 2024 is going to be the single biggest crash we'll see in our lifetimes. Okay? Now, he also said, this is the one time I'm telling you, do not listen to your financial advisor. Things are not going to come back to normal in a few years. We may never see these levels again. He goes on, and this crash is not going to be a correction. It's going to be more in the 29 to 32 level, 1929 to 1932. He says that's going to be potentially an 86% crash in the S&P and a 92% crash in the NASDAQ. He's basically urging people to stop putting any money into investment in the stock market at this point. Which you look at how high everything's gotten. Look at where the housing market's at, Deez.
Yeah.
A house that was $200,000 6 years ago is now almost $400,000. Look at your interest rates to buy a home. Your interest rates are 7-8% right now to get a mortgage. All right?
It's ridiculous.
How much is a new vehicle? A new vehicle that would have been, well, take it from me, when I bought my truck in 2019, it was out the door with taxes $37,000. That same truck is like $55,000 now. So it is going to crash. You cannot have this kind of inflation and this false money printing and not expect this to crash out. So Trump's right. And it's just getting worse and worse. And every time we sign another bill to give Ukraine $90 billion more dollars that we don't have, where are we getting the money from? We're printing it right out of thin air.
That leads to it's something I pulled up this morning. The Rand Paul Festivus report.
Let's have it. No.
Did you see that?
I did not.
So apparently, and this is the first time I've noticed it, apparently he's been doing this for the last 8 or 9 years. Oh, I hate Fox News, you sons of a...
Was it doing that thing? You're trying to read the Rand Paul's Festivus for the rest of us.
Even worse, they just started doing this. It used to be every now and then, like one article would come up and say you need to log in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now everything says you need to log in. If you try and click on, do you have an account?
Yeah, actually I did. I gave him my email address.
Yeah. Well, I did too, just not on this laptop. So anyway, now you can't read any of their stories without basically giving them your email address. So shame on you, Fox. You're a bunch of...
Yeah, Fox News is really falling out of grace with me, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So anyway, he does this every year for the last, what did he say, 9 years in a row. And his report is now saying 900 billion in government waste. And just a few things that it lists on there. The Department of Defense lost $169 million worth of outdoor stored military gear. In other words, they just left it outside. Now it's ruined. $6 million went towards tourism in Egypt for the United States International Department. Small Business Administration provided over $200 million to, in quotes, struggling music artists such as Post Malone, Chris Brown, Lil Wayne. In other words, some of the most successful. Yes. Up from $30 trillion in debt in 2022. This year's debt amounts to $34 trillion. There was a couple other really bad ones. Oh yeah, here you go. $659 billion for national debt interest, $33.2 million for transgender monkey research.
What the hell did you just say?
$33.2 million for transgender monkey research. $6 million. Oh, okay, that's the Egyptian tourism.
Were you talking about Michelle Obama?
1.7 billion a year from Congress goes to the Agricultural Research Service at the USDA, and one of their studies was that they were studying what the weather effects on dogs are when they are walked in hot weather.
Well, at least they didn't leave millions and billions of dollars with the weapons in Afghanistan, though.
Yeah.